Session.
And then also on the first one, click and unclick and you should get your role.
Oh, but was that an instruction? Oops. Okay. Okay, yeah. Thanks everyone first off for joining today. For those of you who are completely new to the Phoenix Guild, or this is our first ever masterclass that you're attending, welcome, and we are really happy to have you here. A quick summary of what we do at the community. Phoenix Guild is a community that has been created to help more women break into Web3. How we do it slightly different from what others are doing is that we help women break into Web3 through education plus bounties. So our motto is learn by doing. That is, we help you learn things and then help you attempt bounties on certain topics on what you have learned. So it could be in the form of smaller writing bounties, which could be completely non-technical, to slightly more heavier bounties, which could be developer oriented as you keep going through your learning journey. As a part of the Phoenix Guild, we kickstarted in the month of Jan 2022, and we initially received a grant from Ocean Protocol to start this. We put up some bounties, and we also saw some female participation in the Ocean Hackathon, as well as we had over 8+ members from the Phoenix Guild become ambassadors at Ocean Protocol and started working on different projects like Algo Vera and all. And we got inspired that we wanted, why stop at Ocean, like basically sky is the limit, not ocean. So we started to kind of come up with what could be some other learning opportunities that could be beneficial. And that's how we kickstarted the Solidity Bootcamp. This is the Genesis cohort, that is cohort 0 of the Solidity Bootcamp. The Solidity Bootcamp is a program where we are training. We started with about 100 women. Now we have over 50+ active women who are still continuing with the bootcamp. It's a 5-week learning plus 3-week project camp. We are at the 0th week of project, where people are still forming teams and brainstorming ideas. And we have our demo day on the 17th, where folks will be building out projects and showing us what they have done. We have, of course, several more initiatives coming up. We love to partner with protocols and have them come and teach us as to what they are doing, put up bounties for our community. So folks from our community can learn, do the bounties, and hopefully maybe start working with these protocols, start evangelizing them, start becoming ambassadors. That's how most of the journey is in Web3, and that's what we want for the women in our group. Our sessions, especially the educational workshops, education sessions, workshops, or most of the initiatives are open to all, because we also want allies to come and support us. And we want everyone to participate in this movement where there is more diversity in the ecosystem. So that's who we are, and that's what we are doing. We have lots of exciting things coming up in the future as well. Our today's workshop is specifically on Arcana networks. As we were just discussing a couple of minutes ago, we see that Arcana has a lot of different services in terms of decentralized storage, identity management, key management. So we are definitely interested in what Arcana offers. And we have Jobin and Anirudh to kind of demystify that for us today. So excited for this workshop to see. I'm myself learning Arcana, so I'm going to be 100% focused to see what's happening. Over to you, Jobin and Anirudh. Please take over the stage.
Yeah, so thank you, Gnana. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, that's good. You can call me Gyan if that's easier.
Gyana, okay, thank you. Yeah, so thanks, Guild, and organizing this opportunity for us to demystify what our offerings and how building works. So I'm basically just
is the network okay, or is it just me?
at Arcana Network.
Yeah, Jobin, I think your voice is breaking a little bit. I just want to double check if that's just on my end, or is it just happening to everyone?
Give me a second. Let me just check that, and I'll fix it.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Divya, for confirming. Meanwhile, Anirudh, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, sure. So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so I'm Anirudh. I work as a product manager here at Arcana. What Arcana is essentially, I mean, Jobin will get into more details here, but we sort of offer a full stack offering for Web3 developers. And what that means is we try to give you all the tools you need to build any app that you want. And we try to do it in such a manner so that we put privacy as the first, the central feature for any tool that you use, any service that we provide, right? So all your dApps that you build, the aim is to build privacy preserving dApps. And Arcana is sort of helps meet that end goal, right? Now, we broadly, if you want to break it down into 3 specific things that we do, like you said, right? There's decentralized storage, there's key management, there's IAM. I mean, it's sort of hard to understand that way. Essentially, it's we do access authentication. So if you want to onboard users, we first make sure we authenticate them. Once you authenticate them, we help them. We have the storage part of what we do, which, like you alluded to, is the decentralized storage, where users can upload whatever they want. And then post that, they can control who can access whatever things they just uploaded, right? So that's the access control of it. So essentially, if you want to look at it, there are 3 large, you can break it down into 3 components, and that's sort of authenticating your users. And then once you have identified, you've onboarded your users, they can let them upload stuff to our decentralized storage network, and then also let them start to control who can access that, right? So broadly, that's what Arcana does. Again, Jobin will get into more details as soon as he's back.
Awesome.
Right.
That's very interesting because one of the projects that is being built as we speak during the project week is a period tracker for women due to the abortion issues that are coming up in US. The team is wanting to build something which is privacy first, where the data is not, like it's not being leaked and such things. So I'm looking forward to the workshop, and maybe also will share with the team to see if they can incorporate some of the elements into their app. Would be interesting to see what pieces could come in the privacy part.
Yeah, so this, sticking to this example, right? This is like a perfect example of what Arcana could be used for, because the main problem with exactly this, right, period tracking apps is that the companies that build it, they just outsource your data and then make money off that. Right?
Progress.
But with Arcana, the thing is, the developers themselves, the data is abstracted away from the people who built the apps itself, right? So you're essentially preserving the privacy of your users, right? Even the people who built the apps can't have access to the data because it's encrypted from the user's end and stored in an encrypted manner on our networks. So only the user themselves can see it. So that's getting a bit more into the details and stuff, but this would be a great use case for exactly that.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll also reach out to the team to see if there could be a scope to mentor the team that's actually building it. Yeah,
definitely. Hey, Jobin, are you back?
Yeah, so is my audio clear? Is it audible or still breaking? Okay,
no,
cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I believe my audio is clear, it's audible. So giving a quick introduction back about me, if you guys missed. So I'm Jobin, the blockchain developer evangelist working at Arcana Network. So thanks to TPG for giving this opportunity to demystify about Arcana Network and our offerings. So let's move to the slides without any further ado. Give me a second. Yeah, I hope that my screen is visible. Can somebody confirm the same?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So what exactly Arcana Network is? So we are a data and privacy stack built on Ethereum. So if you're planning to build on Ethereum, you want to build a dApp, and when it comes to storage and privacy related stuff, that's when we come into play. That's when you actually use us. So if you're building something where you require to store something, you want your users to store something, you want them to interact with that file, upload, download it, want to share that, that's one place where you actually use us. And when you want to allow users to log in into your dApp, that's also the second time when you actually use us. And there are a couple of other offerings also. I'll be going in detail into that in the coming slides. Okay, so what is Arcana? Like I said, it's the storage and privacy stack. And what are our offerings? So we basically have 4 decentralized services, and why? Basically 4 less reasons for you to worry when you're actually building, or actually when you're using an application or service on the internet. Yeah. So what's the reason behind having Arcana Network? Because privacy cannot be afterthought. There is no recovering after you have lost everything out there in the internet. So sort of internet is like a wild forest. So you can easily get your data, your identity, or anything lost if you don't look it after. So that's where we come into play, and we allow you to safeguard your data, your users' data, and make your app have privacy as its first-class citizen. Okay. Next, what are our offerings? First one, that's decentralized storage. Okay. So what decentralized storage means, you can upload any sort of asset, any sort of file or data into Arcana, which is encrypted and which has been split and distributed among multiple storage nodes. That's given in the slide. So what basically happens is our network is spread across across the globe, or across the network with multiple nodes which are powering us, multiple storage nodes which are powering us. So when you upload a file, it's been split, it's been encrypted. So sort of your file is inside a briefcase, and the copies of the briefcase has been distributed among multiple people in these multiple storage nodes. So whenever you want to retrieve that back that file, even if one node goes down or something happens to a node, or something happens from the node which you want to retrieve, you have multiple other nodes through which you can retrieve the data or the assets. At the same time, because it's sort of encrypted, because the data or the assets sits inside a briefcase, so it's secure, nobody can steal that. Okay, so among multiple storage nodes, it's been split. And without a single point of failure, assets are protected against geo-specific disasters or hacking attempts. So sort of we can know how the Web2 companies or Web2 systems work, where it relies on a single server or maybe a bunch of servers. So if something happens to the geo-specific servers or those systems powering the entire service, your service has been hit, your users are facing downtime. But when it's distributed, when it's decentralized, you don't have to fear about that. And also when there is no single point of failure, it means you have less downtime, less fear of your system getting hacked. Okay, so that's our first offering. So what this splitting of data or your assets is sort of called as shards or sharding. That's the technology. So you shard, you use sharding technology and split your data into shards. Shards means broken pieces. Okay, so each shard is stored in a unique Arcana storage node, and only a subset of the shards are required to retrieve this file. So there's a technology behind this, which is basically called as DKG, and also DKG, as well as one is DKG, another is called as cryptolysys, which is Shami secret sharing. A couple of other technologies are there which is powering this. Okay, so you can use this, so no snooping by anyone. So that's about decentralized storage. And the second offering that we have is about.
So there are a couple questions in the chat as well. I'll just keep an eye on the chat while you keep talking. So Sylvia, you'd asked whether the storage network works with IPFS protocol. At the moment, we don't integrate with IPFS, but essentially it's very similar to what they do. IPFS again is decentralized storage. The main difference here is that we have more robust access control. IPFS, everything you put onto the network itself is public by default, right? And so here, what we do is we like Jobin alluded to, we split our files, we send it across our decentralized storage network, but we also allow access control, meaning who can actually view the file, right? That's the main difference. And Jobin, can you just go back to the third slide? I think Divya wanted to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Got a glimpse of the third slide. So privacy can be afterthought. There's no recovering from a situation that it has already been breached.
Yeah, I think we can go.
Yeah. So moving to the second offering that we have, which is basically a part of our services, which is end-to-end encryption. So you want to make sure that nobody snoops into whatever activity you're doing or your users are doing on your application, okay, with their data. So Divya, I'll come to that sharding part and explain to you the technology behind that, what exactly sharding is. Okay, before that, let me just cover this end-to-end encryption part or E2E part. Yeah, so what end-to-end encryption allows is that from A to Z, from both the endpoints, the data that you once upload to the data and user downloads. Okay, just like giving an example, it's completely encrypted. So somebody snoops or a middleman comes in between and tries to get a copy of your data, wants to access your data, wants to peek inside what's happening, can't do that because it's completely encrypted. So there is cryptography involved in this. So when you upload a data, it's been encrypted with certain keys. And when a user has to access it, you share your keys. So it happens in the backend. There are certain sort of cryptographic technologies like asymmetric key cryptography and symmetric key cryptography. So these are some technologies. We actually use a couple of them, and we encrypt this data and we upload it. So whenever a user wants to get that access to the key first, and he uses that to decrypt the the data. So sort of like a briefcase. You put your data inside a briefcase, you lock it, and you give that briefcase to other guy. So if he wants to open that, he has to get the access to the PIN number or the key to the briefcase. Then he can open that briefcase and have a access to that data. So end-to-end encryption. So in between, so consider that you are shipping this briefcase from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So in between, during the transportation or the logistics, if somebody gets access to the briefcase, they can't open it because there is no key, or there is no PIN or password to unlock that briefcase. So basically, it renders it as useless. You can't access the data inside that. So that's basically end-to-end encryption is. So whatever the data, so data activity happens within the application that has been built on Arcana Network or our SDK, it's completely encrypted. Okay, simply all files are encrypted by the client even before they hit the network. So before it gets into the internet, before it gets into the web, it's been encrypted. Okay, so there is a proxy re-encryption or PRE to seamlessly share or reshare the files that you upload as a user on your application or on your DApp. Okay, and there is a symmetric key encryption of files and asymmetric encryption of symmetric keys. So that's what I was sharing to you previously. These are some of the cryptographic technologies that's been used. So if you don't understand what exactly symmetric key encryption is and asymmetric encryption is, you can ask me in the chat section. I will cover that. Okay, yeah. So that's our second offering. If you want to have a quick understanding what E2E is, then probably you have an understanding WhatsApp has E2E. So whatever you chat, only you and the receiver can read that messages. So that's E2E. Okay. Our third offering, that is social auth with identify and access management, IAM. Okay. So your users will truly own and control sharing access to their data. Okay. So this is what basically does is this removes the friction, allows user to sign up, log in with social authentication and generate keys for that. Okay. So right now, if you try to log in with our authentication SDK in your DApp, so you'll have option to log in with Google, GitHub, Discord, and Reddit. So you just click sign in with Google and instantly it gets logged in. So you can, we are bringing that social login to dApps or Web3 applications. Okay, so a frictionless login for your users. And a decentralized identity and access controls are verifiable in trustless way and adhere to the W3C DID specifications. Okay, I'll come to the DID part. Okay, so DID basically the full form is decentralized identification. Okay, so every file that's been uploaded to Arcana is assigned to a DID. Okay, so it basically has an identification, every file. And DID points to the document that's been stored on the public Arcana blockchain for a trustless verification. So we have a trustless verification, trustless. It's not that there is no trust. It means that you don't have to trust anybody, no central entity. Like if you have a centralized entity like Google Drive or maybe YouTube, give an example, if you upload a file, upload a video on YouTube, so you have to wait for them to permit you to upload that video on YouTube platform. But here it's trustless. So you don't have to trust anybody. It gets automatically, a DID gets appointed and the file gets encrypted and uploaded, and instantly you can share and reshare or can do any sort of activity with your file. Okay, and access control list is maintained in the DID document and can only be updated by the file owner or the uploader. So the complete access, you have a complete access to your data, but only you have access to that. Only you can control and decide what happens with your data, what happens with your assets that's been uploaded into the network. Okay, so that's decentralized IAM for identity and access management. That's our third offering. Okay, I'll show you how we can integrate and how we can use this and how seamless it is. Okay, and even DID, decentralized identification, is the full form, Divya. Okay, then our fourth offering. Before covering fourth offering, Anirudh was sharing about IPFS. Okay, so and what's the difference also you were asking, and when I will show you how we can integrate and our SDK part, you will understand why the how different the UX is when it comes to IPFS and Arcana SDK. And I'll show you within a couple of seconds. You'll be able to configure the SDK and start setting up your storage and authentication part for your DApp or Web3 application. Okay, I'll show that. Yeah. So our fourth offering is non-custodial key management. Okay. So users need not to worry about their keys. Okay. So if we have keys for our house or vehicle, if you have a couple of houses or a couple of vehicles or lockers and all these things, there's an easy chance for you to miss or lose your keys, and that's why now we have ways to track your keys. Okay, so why even care about tracking your keys or keeping them secure when you don't have to actually store your keys? We come into play there. You don't actually have to care about your keys. You just have to use our offering, that's non-custodial key management. So actually the big hurdle to cryptographic encryption has to do with the public and private keys. So I told you, when you upload a file, even before that gets into the network, it's been encrypted, and it's been encrypted with this keys, right? And I gave you an example of the briefcase. You share a briefcase with your friend, you want that guy to access it, you have to share the keys first. So for that, you have to remember that key. So here, you don't even actually have to remember your keys. Okay, just give out your briefcase and we'll handle that part where you actually have to share the keys. Okay, so our DKG or distributed key generation system and the KMS simplifies it. The network handles the keys that belongs to the users and their data, so you don't have to do it. Okay, you don't have to actually roam around with your keys or you have to store somewhere. Okay. So that's called non-custodial key management. And the technology involved behind this is IPFS, or which is Shamir secret sharing, and that is one of the technology also powering the sharding system. Okay, so what this are basically our four offerings. Okay, I'll explain to you sharding and IPFS. So, and another thing about us is we play well with everyone. Interoperability. Okay, you can that's coming in the future. Right now, at the moment, it's only Ethereum, but we are planning to make it interoperable. You can build dApps on Ethereum, Polygon, Binance, and all the other EVM compatible chains. Okay, it will be supported, and more good things to come. Okay, these are basically our four good offerings. Okay, and coming to the sharding part. Okay, what sharding basically does is, the best example I can give you is when you buy a pizza. So what you do is, you can't if you have multiple people who want to eat that pizza, and everybody tries to take a piece out of it. So what happens is, it becomes a mess. So what basically the pizza maker themselves do, they make a proper slices and they cut equally and distribute it. Okay, so similarly, whatever the data is, or whatever the keys are, or whatever the password is that you want to store, that has been split into equal parts. And the copies of that equal parts are also made. And it's been thrown out there in the network or in the internet. So all the people or all these storage nodes or all the people who are powering this network, they will have copies of your files. Okay, your copies of split files. Actually, because it's split, they cannot use it because it's just a piece of your file. Okay, it's sort of like a piece of your jigsaw puzzle. It's useless for them. Okay, and also you have made sure that you have multiple copies of this jigsaw puzzle also. So what happens is, if somebody even resists or disagrees to give you a piece of puzzle, you have another copy there. You can get that from the another guy, and you can collect all of them and join back and create the entire puzzle and complete the puzzle. Okay, so that's basically sharding. Is you split your files or split your keys or passwords into multiple pieces, and also you create duplicate keys and you spread and distribute across your network. And whenever you want that password back, whenever you want that file back, just call, send out a message, guys, I want that password back, can you share me that back? Somebody disagrees or somebody has a fight or quarrel with you, don't worry about that guy, and the guy has a duplicate copy of that, and all these people will give back the puzzle pieces, and you can join them back and complete your puzzle. That's basically sharding means. Okay. Yeah. Great. So non-custodial is exactly that example I was giving you. Okay, the sharding example. Sharding is basically out of this core cryptographic concept called as Shamir secret sharing. Okay, whenever you are not good at keeping secrets, you share that with other guys, and these guys only have pieces of that secret, so they can't figure out what exactly or what actually the secret is. Okay, but when you combine all the secrets and get them back from them and combine it, then you actually can remember back or retrieve back what actually the secret was. Okay, so that is what actually this non-custodial key management also means. When you actually can't keep your keys secure, just split into equal pieces. Keys means passwords. Okay, split that, make multiple copies of that, spread it across the network, distribute it among multiple people, and whenever you want that back that key, just send out a message. Who are the people are storing your key pieces of your keys? They will send back that pieces, and you can join the pieces back and complete the key and use that to log in. Okay, so is this technology you're using something like a multi-party computation? Sort of the base idea might sound similar, but it's not exactly the same. Multi-party computation, yeah, multiple people has to involve in computing that problem or solving that thing on a node. Sort of similar in the base idea, but the implementation part is different. Okay, so that is what basically SSS means, which is the core technology behind this, and that's what is powering sharding, and that is also what powering our non-custodial key management part. Okay, so next time you forget your password for your Facebook, social media, think about us. You don't have to. Next time if you're building a social media on Arcana SDK, you don't have to actually remember your passwords. Okay, leave it, forget it. Okay, just have to sign. Yeah, my voice is breaking. What about now, guys? Is it breaking now? Can somebody respond?
It's a bit better, but towards the end, you were breaking quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that now it's okay. Good. Yeah. So that's basically about our offerings and who we are and what's our vision, what's the reason behind us. Okay, and what are our future plans? It's interoperability, allowing you to build on multiple chains. Okay, that's what we are looking at. So what you can do, you can start building with us. That's how you can contribute to this ecosystem and help build a future decentralized, private, privacy-focused, and secure internet. That's what you can do as a developer. That's what you can do as being a part of this citizen of the internet. Okay, so how we can start actually building with us. Okay, that's what I'm going to share. Give me a second.
Yeah, so I'll just take Divya's question here, right?
Yeah.
The difference between sharding and non-custodial. So essentially, non-custodial key management, right? What it means is, although we create the keys and we give you the keys, the essential problem is how do you trust us to not use your keys, right? Because we're the ones who created it, we're the ones who store it. How do you know that? How can you trust us to not use it, right? And the way we do that is by something called Shamir's secret sharing. Now, it's a little bit more complex than that, but the base idea is something called Shamir's secret sharing. You guys can look it up for more like technical details. What that means is for every private key that we generate, we split it up into pieces and we store those pieces on our network. And anytime you request a key to actually sign transactions, we send you all the pieces and you recombine and do basically polynomial operations to recombine those pieces of your keys and get the full secret key only on your client. Therefore, at no point does the entire key ever get generated anywhere else besides your client. Right, and so that's why we say it's non-custodial, because although the entire key is only present at your end at any point in time. Right? Hopefully that's a bit more clear. Non-custodial key management and sharding are, although they somewhat seem similar, where you're basically splitting up one piece to and storing it in different places, they're somewhat different. The sharding bit is mainly for like larger data sets. So if you want to say, if you have a large data set and you can't really store it in one specific server or on one hard disk, right? What you would do is you split it up and you split it up across different servers at Amazon buckets. And anytime you want to recreate it, you'd call out to those individual pieces and you'd recreate it and then use that. They're somewhat similar, but there is difference there. Sharding is usually mainly for larger data sets. Hope that's clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Jogin.
Yeah. Thanks, Anirudh, for that explanation. So simply, like Amit said, sharding, if it's big files, it's sharding. If it comes to keys, that's when non-custodial key management comes into play. So if you want to have a quick understanding of what Shamir's secret sharing is, like you were asking, so if you don't want to share the secret, but you suck at remembering the secret, that's when this solution comes into play. That's one of our key technologies. Okay, Shamir's secret sharing is used to secure a secret in a distributed way. The secret is split into multiple parts called shares. Okay, that's shares or shards. Okay, yeah, and that is why actually Shamir's secret sharing, when you search on internet, will also be known as sharding. Okay, so sounds confusing. Let's understand in Shamir's way. Okay, so Shamir has a bank locker. It has a 10-digit pin. Consider this as your password for your social media login. Okay, Shamir has a bank locker. It has a 10-digit pin. So he's not good at remembering that pin. So he will split that pin into parts and share it among friends. Okay, he will split it among all this 5 people. So digits among 5 people. Also, you can just think about not 5 people, 10 people. Other 5 people also will have the same copies of this 2 digits. Okay, so whenever he wants to log in and he doesn't remember the password, what he will do, he will call all his friends, gather all these 2-digit pins, and I will join that back and I will log in. That's what Shamir's secret is. Okay, so yeah, I'll lay the technical side. Okay, so what you can do to build with us. So what you have to do is you can I'll just redirect you to our testnet website. You can visit our testnet website. Okay, and the features are given, and just come to the bottom part, almost middle part, where it's given get started. So here we have the developer SDK documentation. There is also a demo app where actually we have implemented our offerings. Okay, and you can check that out. You can check how it's been implemented. You can check that code. It's open source. It's available on our GitHub repository. Then there is a if you want support for integration, you can join our Discord and how to get started with your SDK. Okay, so just you have to click here. So this will take this will take you to our dashboard. You can see you have a login with Google, GitHub, which Discord. Similarly, you can also implement this sort of login system in your dApp that you're building, where you will be integrating our authentication SDK. Okay, if you click on Google SDK, it will just redirect you to the pop-up where you can just click on your email ID and it gets signed in. Okay, no passwords, and instantly it signs in. Okay, so no more passwords, easy login for Web3 applications. Okay, so I've already created an app. I'll just remove it and I'll show you how it looks. Yeah, so after you log in, you'll be welcomed on this page. This page is getting started. Okay, so you can just click on this configure, enter your app name. I'll just call it Phoenix Guild. Okay, and then you have an option to choose region. At the moment, it's distributed, it's anywhere, but in the future, you can opt to select which region you want. Okay, and then give me a second. Then click on the next. Okay, then you can choose the chain time. At the moment, like I told you, interoperability is some of our future plans. I'll be bringing that very soon. But at the moment, we don't have an option to select which one. Yeah, here we have an option. Sorry. So you can click on the Ethereum Polygon balance, but other chains will be bringing that in the future. Okay, then you can click that and click on the next one, and you can choose the authentication type that you want on your DApp or Web3 application. Okay, if you want Google, GitHub, Reddit, whatever you want, just click that. If you are clicking Google, I will give you an example. You click Google, so it will ask you for your client ID. So you can just click on this developer dashboard of Google, sign in, and there it will ask you to sign in with your Google account, and it will give you a client ID. You just have to copy paste that here, and your Google setup for signing is done. Okay, then just click on sign in, and here it will ask you for the limits that you want to set, the bandwidth that you want to set for your storage and all the activity that happens in your application. Okay, you can set the limits, but at the moment it's unlimited. You can select. Okay, you can just click save. Okay, once you're done, once you're done with all these options, okay, I believe that it was just four options that you have to, four steps that you have to just do. Once that's done, your storage and authentication part configuration is done. So that's how simple it is. So that is why when Anirudh was explaining to you the difference between IPFS and Arcana SDK, I was going to tell you the UX is far better than IPFS. Okay, the implementation of the configuring part where you have to set up your authentication and storage part, or the non-custodial key management part, it's very simple compared to those other alternatives. Okay, so when you come to this page, you can see how many users have signed in, how many files have been uploaded, downloaded, or whatever has happened, and right now no estimated cost. Okay, the bandwidth that's been used, the storage that's been used, can view the metrics, and whatever the action that your users have taken, like they have downloaded, they have uploaded, they have shared, transferred, revoked, delete. Okay, so if you wish to build, I will suggest you have a look at the demo or reference app that's been given out there in the testnet website. Okay, it has a very good explanation, very proper implementation of logging in with using our social authentication SDK. And post that when you try to upload a file, it gets encrypted. And if you want, you also can share a file with somebody. And when you share, that person can access it. But if you want that person to not access your files, you can also revoke that. So you have multiple controls over your files that you have uploaded. You can check that. Okay. So I'll suggest you try that out. Then you can look at uploading, downloading, and all that options. Okay, so that's how basically the dashboard looks. You can check out the users. You can configure different things. Can enter the wallet address and track them. I will check that. And yeah, right now it's on testnet. So if after it's done, if you want to check the the implementation part where you want to add the code into your project, consider if it's a React Vue project there you want to implement our authentication or our SDK for storage, then come to this docs part. Here it's given in a detailed way. Okay, complete explanation is given. Here a quick start on configuration is given with screenshots. You can check that out. This was the demo app that I was talking to you. Okay, this basically has our authentication implementation as well as the storage SDK implementation. You can check that out and how it's been implemented, how files are uploaded, downloaded, everything is given. Okay, and if you want to start from scratch, You can check out the entire details of the architecture works, DKG, or the distributed key generation works, how the validator nodes, the storage nodes, and gateway nodes power us. You can check that out. You can check all the basic things with proper diagrams and all explanation it's given here. And this is the part where you actually implement and write code. Okay, so if you want to implement the storage SDK part, click here, and here you will see it will ask you to do this package installation using the node package manager. You can install that. Okay, for the storage part, you can do that. And here the usage is given how you can use for storage SDK. The uploader function it's given here. So consider if you want your application to have uploader function, then you just have to copy paste this code and implement in wherever the application where the application in the project code, wherever you want the upload function to be there, just copy paste the code and accordingly make the changes. Okay, if you want the downloader, then you have this code here. If you want to have the access, then you can have this function. Okay, for the share, you can do this, and also there is an option for giving validity for that. Okay, then revoke function is there, delete function is there. Everything has been detailed in a detailed manner. It's been given here. Okay, so whatever you want to do, you can check that here. Okay, and if something fails, okay, something happens, or if you want to see output or of the action that you have done, if it's positive or it's negative, sort of like a flag, 1 or 0, it's a success or an error, you can add these things. So it will give you a response back that the file has been successfully added, or not. If not, then this one. Okay, you can add this function. It will spit out that it's not been added. It's in progress. It will spit out. It's in progress if you add this function to your project. Okay, so basically all these things have been given. All the error list codes have been given. You can check this out and you can implement the storage SDK. So these are basically the functions: uploading, downloading, deleting, sharing, revoking, or changing the owner of the file that you have uploaded. If you want to move that file, sort of the best explanation that I can give you is if you are building a property management system on our SDK. So if the property is on your name, you make all the changes while selling it. You can just change the owner of this file, probably an NFT of your property deed or your whatever the papers are. Okay, we'll change the name. We'll just change the NFT owner to who the person is who has bought your property. Okay, that's one of the best explanation I can give. Okay, and the upload and download part and the share part, it's sort of like if you're taking a loan and you're putting your property as a collateral. At the moment, you can share that file with your all the banking or the finance guys. You can share with them, and whenever the loan period is over or whenever you think they shouldn't have access to your property documents or the files, you can just revoke that. This is one of the best explanation I can give to you on implementing our SDK. Okay, for storage part, and this is for our authentication part. Okay, if you're building a Web3 application or a dApp, there's various types of logins like Metamask, Wallet Connect, and various other ones. Okay, the problem with all that is that you might know seed phrases to remember, a lot of friction for a user who has been on a Web2 application or has used a Web2 service. For them, if they are migrating or getting into a new Web3 application, setting up Metamask, remembering all the seed phrases and all this sort of friction is too much. Okay, so if you're building a Web3 application or a dApp, if you implement this authentication part or SDK, okay, it will allow the users to log in with the commonly social authentication systems such as Google, Reddit, GitHub, or Discord. You can use that to log in into your Web3 application or that. Okay, so that makes the process much frictionless. Okay, the onboarding. Yeah. So how you can do is you can just install this node package. Okay, of Arcana auth, and then the usage is given. How you can import, how you can initialize. Okay, how you can initiate a social login. Just have to copy paste this code and put that on the project's code wherever you want to initiate that social login. If you want to get the details of the user, you can use this code. Okay, if you want to get the public key, you can use this code. If you want to know that the user has already logged in, you can use this function. Okay, and if you want to clear the login sessions, okay, typical login and the session management system. Okay, for any sort of application or service such as social media or banking you use, there is session management, there is login initiation. Okay, It checks for all these things. So if you want to implement all these things into your DApp or Web3 application, you can use all these functions. Okay. And here the flow modes are given. Okay. Redirection for login. If you want to have a pop-up for login, then you can use that. Okay. For both of them, it's given here. Okay. If you want to do redirection or pop, you can use this. Okay. And the variables that are used, the social login type and the origin also is given. Okay. And coming to the third SDK part, okay, that's key storage, okay, the DKG part. Okay. So if you're thinking that your users want to store some sort of keys, so that is when you want to install this package and you utilize or implement that in your project. Okay. Install this, import it, and you have usage things like initialization and methods. Okay. You can just copy paste this code and improvise accordingly and build your project. Okay. So basically we have three major things in the SDK part: the storage, authentication, and the key store part. Okay. Whatever your usage is based on your project or your goals of building application, you can accordingly implement it. And also the user flows also given here. See how the user authenticates, encryption and KMS and access control, file storage, file delete. All the flows, user flows is properly depicted here in steps with the proper diagrams. Okay, so if you want to understand how that happens in the backend, the UX or the user flow, then you can understand that. Okay, after reading this. So this is basically how you implement our SDK and build apps that have privacy and security as their first class citizens. Okay, so you can look into this. And if you face any sort of issues while implementing or integrating our SDKs, feel free to reach out to us through our Discord and we'll be happy to help you with that. Okay. And if you want to have a practical example of implementation, then feel free to check out our reference or demo app. Okay. That gives you a good idea about that. Yeah. So that's pretty much about our offerings and how you can build with us the future decentralized internet, probably an internet which is for the people, by the people, and to the people. Okay. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. So just a couple questions on the chat that I think I'll address. The first one is what's the difference between Metamask and Arcana Auth? Metamask, you have to remember your seed phrases to actually log into your wallet. But thus, what we do is Arcana Auth lets you integrate your existing social logins as a way to authenticate your users. So, for example, if anybody already has a Google account, all they have to do is sign in with Google and authenticate using that itself, right? So we offer, you can log into Google, your Twitch account, your Reddit account, your Twitter account. So instead of remembering a seed phrase for every new wallet you create, you just have one less thing to remember, right? You just have an existing Google account, you just log into Google and we'll give you your keys. So that's the main difference. The earlier question about what are the some use cases. Yeah, so one, like we discussed, right? So a privacy preserving period tracking app is actually a very good use case for us, because what happens now is the data that these apps collect, they just sell it to who are basically the largest bidder, and that's how they make a part of their money, right? But with Arcana, you can build these apps without exposing the data itself to the developer, and therefore ensure that the privacy is preserved. Right, that's one use case. Another use case, so the demo app that Jobin was talking about is essentially a Dropbox equivalent, where you can just upload files, share files, work files, transfer file ownership. And so that's another example that you can use Arcana to build. Right? I think that if I were to go about it, I think that would be the first sort of thing I would dive into to sort of get a feel for how the SDKs work and see what is actually possible. Right. Once you get that, then you can be you can start thinking of ways to actually leverage our SDKs to do whatever you guys want. Yeah. So essentially, any app where you guys think that there can be an improvement in privacy where people don't just sell your data and try to take advantage of it, we're a good use case for it, right? So apart, like another good one is, I don't know if you guys know, there's an app called MyGate in India, which is essentially a way to let people into your apartment. It's used by like the security of companies. So again, that's another great example of that app using people's data and just selling it off to basically make more money. And so at the end of the day, part of the reason is the end users as a product themselves, right? And that's how they make their money. So, I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. We can definitely help you guys figure some of these things out.
Yeah. And also a couple of other use cases that I want to add, which actually a couple of guys have built during hackathon, other initiatives that we are partnered up with. One example was Decentralised Hotel, D-Hotel, where basically whenever you check into a hotel, you have to share your Aadhaar card or PAN card or whatever it is, your documents. Okay. So the problem is that whenever you share that, there's a good chance they can misuse your documents. So what this guys built was you can share your documents for them to keep a to have a look at it, and whenever you check that out, you can revoke the access to your documents while you check out from the hotel. Okay, so this prevents misusing your documents. Okay, so that was one very good example where the implementation was done for our storage SDK. Sorry. Okay, and also I gave you an example of property. Then there is one for Aegis, which was one of the project built on our SDK, which is for social creators. Okay, social media creators. Okay, that was one example. So you have examples where you can use for NFTs, and you can convert documents which you only want certain people to have access, or you want, such as the properties or your health documents or insurance documents. Such documents, you can make that NFT, you can store that with us, and you can control that its access. Okay, that's one example. Then there is for gaming also, you can store that assets and decide if you're building an app which is basically a Web3 game. So if the developer of the game wants to give an access to a particular sort of skin or a particular in-game character, then he can decide when he wants to share that access. Okay, using our storage SDK. Okay, you can do that. So, or probably the game NFTs or such sort of things. Okay, so like Arvind said, Anirudh said, wherever privacy can be improved at all that places, we are useful. Okay, so I hope that we have basically covered all the offerings and the explanation behind that, the technology behind that, the reason behind that, and what do you call the implementation integration also. We don't want to see a future where tech giants are selling our data. Okay, we want the citizens of the internet to actually own the data and decide with whom they want to share it. Okay, so that's what we allow. We at Arcana, through our SDK and our offerings, that's what we allow. Yeah, so that's what basically is about Arcana and our offerings and our integration. Okay, thank you. Anything, Anirudh, you want to add?
No, nothing. That was basically everything we wanted to cover. Good talk, Jovan. I just would sort of maybe recap and just highlight next steps that I would suggest. Basically, if you go through our docs, there's one specific section called the demo app, which is like an end-to-end step-by-step of actually how to use our SDKs. So that'll be a good place to start. It'll guide you from how our pieces fit together from our dashboard to our SDKs. And so it's pretty thorough, it's been tested. Lots of people have actually used just that tutorial we have, so it should be pretty straightforward. Once you get a feel of how to use our SDKs, then you can start building out your own use cases. And like Jobin said, if you guys join our Discord channel, we'll answer any questions you have and be there to help. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jobin and Anirudh. The session was very detailed, and I think everyone on the call now has an idea as to how Arcana works and what are the different offerings. And I really appreciate you that I think you have gone the next step and also shared the inner workings of the underlying technology, which is very helpful when people are thinking about building solutions. So yeah, thank you so much for today's very informative session. I hope that for those who are not able to attend can also watch the recording and be able to gain knowledge